Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Welcome. So, today's presentation is about a very specific topic. So, it's about cybersecurity. And we are talking about cybersecurity for automotive. So, we want to share with you our own experience in testing automotive components and automotive products, and share with you how we do it, this, let's say, activity in-house. First of all, just a few words about PCAutomotive for those that who doesn't know the company. We are located in Budapest, Hungary, but we are expanding our presence in Europe, and actually we cover all the European market. Thanks to our location, it's quite easily to reach all the, let's say, main producer, main OEMs, manufacturers, suppliers, and so on. There is also a quite interesting tendency, which is about moving a lot of R&D capabilities from suppliers to Hungary and other Eastern European countries, as you may know. This is our motto, and it's the real one. So we are driven by security. So we are a passionate group of people who are delivering best-in-class services for automotive, cybersecurity services. As you can see from the next slides, we focus a lot in the equipments, but also in the skills of the people that they should provide this kind of services. And we are also able to provide to our customers not only the services, but also an ability to build up by their own, and with our support, their own R&D capabilities. So to perform their test in-house, with our guidance, with our people, but also with our training. So to transfer the knowledge how to perform this kind of activities. And very important topic is that each and every project that we manage is different from each other, because each customer has his own requirements, his own level of skills, level of knowledge, and that's why we always go for very customized and project-based approach. I want to introduce this topic with this image about a turtle. Why a turtle? Because I think this can summarize the current situation on the automotive market. So what is the difference between innovations and security? Because I think everybody is aware that nowadays there is always new product on the market. And we are not talking just about car. Of course, we are talking mostly about car because this is the most sold product. But what we can see actually is that each and every year or each and every few months, we have a new car on the market. And in these new cars, there are a lot of new functionalities. So like, I don't know, safety functionalities, functionalities that can help the usability of the product, the integration of the product, like, you know, it's very easy now to connect the phone to the car and get access to a lot of different services. And it's like having one central system managing everything. So the app, the payment, the navigation system, multimedia system, everything is integrated, everything is connected, everything is nice. We have a very big display, touch screen. It's just wonderful. But in order to do this, of course, the companies, they are like investing a lot in development, and they need to be fast, because they need to be very quick to go on the market, because there are a lot of competitors, and everybody wants to be the first one to introduce new functionality, some fancy stuff. On the other hand, we have cybersecurity. And according to our experience and according to a lot of conversation that we are having with a lot of suppliers, mainly in Europe, they are struggling to produce software components, final products, that they have proper embedded cybersecurity inside. So the speed of development is so quick that it's really difficult to then take care properly of all the cybersecurity requirement. Of course, it doesn't mean that everything is like awful, because we see some improvement in this area, but we strongly believe that a lot more should be done in this area. Really, a lot more should be done. And it's really easy to understand this topic. It's really easy to ask ourselves this question. So how many times did you hear about automotive innovations in the past year? I think if you are passionate in this industry, and if you are buying, I don't know, some magazine, or I don't know, you are subscribed to some newsletter, social, you always see some new brand cars, wonderful, with a lot of very nice software and systems. But how many vulnerabilities have been revealed in the past year? Do you know? I don't think a lot of people, they are just much, let's say, careful on this area. And most of the time, there are very important vulnerabilities. And those vulnerabilities, they are not like very easy to find. They are not very easy to scout on the open source information. And again, what are the most desired features clients want? And are those features secure by default? This is the big question. It's important also to mention that there is now a big evolution on the market in terms of cybersecurity, thanks also to the compliance, because there are a lot of, let's say, new standards, new regulations that they are like somehow regulating how producers they are going to introduce new stuff on the market, and to try their best to understand if the proper cybersecurity requirements were put in place since the development phase of the product, till from the design to the development, and then when the product is on the market. It doesn't mean that, you know, thanks to regulation, everything is fine, but at least there is a big input from regulatory companies, entities, to make sure that basic cybersecurity requirements are in there. According to our experience, this is just the first step. So if you are looking to the United Nations EC 155, 156 regulation, it's a very good job, but still I think there are a lot of gaps that should be filled in this area. And of course, again, it's not just about compliance. So compliance can tell us about a lot of stuff about how we should develop, what are the requirements we should put in place, what are the main things to take care when we implement a cybersecurity management system. They say that we need to perform periodic testing of the product, but compliance can just help. But this should be a very dedicated focus on cybersecurity. And why? Because I think it's really clear from this picture. So this is like an architecture of very, let's say, common cars that we can find on the road nowadays. So it's not just about wheels and engine, but it's about a lot of different electronic components that they are talking each other, and a lot of different interfaces available, physical interfaces, wireless interfaces. So a lot of ways to interact with the vehicle itself. And I think from cybersecurity point of view, this is very clear to understand. So the more features we add to the car, to the vehicle, the more interface we have, the more entry point we have to the vehicle. It's just, you know, it's like clear math equation. So we can talk about, you know, accessing the vehicle through the physical devices, so like OBD port, USB devices, Bluetooth connection, wireless connection. We need to think about the fact that most of the time when we buy a car, this car is already talking with some backend. So it's transferring some telemetry to OEM, supplier, or even service provider, like, I don't know, fleet management company, insurance company, or whatever. And this is just an additional entry point that some malicious, let's say, actor can use to perform some bad operations. And what are the possible impacts in case of, you know, some bad operation? Of course, it's not just about cybersecurity in general, it's also about safety. Because this is about, you know, disrupt the vehicle functionalities, have a possible impact on the safety of the driver, of the vehicle itself, goods that are transported, the surrounding environment, and so on. And of course, everybody is collecting a phone to the car. So we are exchanging information with the car about, our address book, our codes, our location in real time, and so on. And this is also open a big, big topic, which is about privacy and, data storage and data usage. So GDPR and all the rest. And of course, in case, unfortunately, and this sooner or later probably will happen, there is a big vulnerability, big incident, which is involving some producer. This could have a very huge impact in terms of reputation for the producer itself. So I think we can go very quickly on some real cases. First of all, this guy is David Colombo. He's a researcher from Germany. He demonstrated very easily that he was able to have unauthorized access to about 25 Teslas on the road. And the way he's playing this incident is just amazing, because he said, it was not a big deal to do this. Why? Because the concept is that, you have a very nice car, electric car, and you are the owner of the vehicle, and you have a lot of way to interact with the vehicle. So this is what I was telling you before. So you have an app, and with this app, you can do a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, if the API that are exposing certain functionality, they are not properly, let's say, secured, someone could do the same action that David Colombo did. So to remotely open the car, unlock the car, flashing the lights, controlling the infotainment system, and so on and so on. And I think most probably if he would have more time to spend on this research, probably more things would be discovered. And you can understand what is the possible impact of this kind of operation. So you are driving a car, and someone is interacting with the car without your, let's say, intervention. There are also more basic stuff that can be done, and this is quite a recent incident vulnerability that were found in Honda cars. That it was very easy to for hackers to lock, unlock, and start a car, and actually to steal the car, because it was really easy. And I was really impressed when I was reading this research, because actually, even if in this car it was implemented the proper key fob with proper encryption, the way they implemented it was not the best way. So it was just possible to perform a key fob imitation attack, to just open the car and start the car. So it was very easy. And this reminds me the old times when, this key fob, this remote control were not using encryption at all. It was even more easy. But now, even with encryption, we see that, it's possible to perform such kind of operations. And so what? So what we are supposed to do? So on our end, what we are trying to do is to make a lot of awareness around this topic. We perform a lot of research, and what we try to do actually is to transform the turtle that we have seen before, this low turtle that is trying to gain the same speed as innovation, to some faster turtles, that they can really, perform some operations at the same speed of the evolution of these new features and innovation. And for this reason, we created a very strong research development capabilities in our company. And when we started, we figured out that we had to really heavily invest in proper environment to perform this kind of operation. And I want just to show you a very short video about our premises. Well, you know, it's not about just the layout of the environment, but I want to explain a little bit more what is inside. So our approach was at the beginning just to have Cyber Lab. So because at the beginning it was just about, you know, testing very specific electronic control unit or TCUs. But then we understood that, you know, for certain cases it was really important to develop to something bigger, which is called CyberGarage, and to end like, you know, center of expertise. So our ability to transfer to our customers these R&D capabilities, so to perform by themselves part of these operations. About the Cyber Lab, this is a real picture where we were doing some, you know, deep testing of some hardware. It's really important to understand the real environment that you need to perform this kind of testing. So to work with the hardware itself, with the way to penetrate the hardware, to way to accessing the firmware, downloading the firmware, performing the reverse engineering, and you need to have a proper environment to do this, and proper people with proper skills to perform these kind of operations. And in this kind of lab, what we do actually, we test any kind of ECUs, starting from diagnostic, infotainment, powertrain, telematics, any kind of components that has, you know, interaction with the vehicle itself. And this is performed by means of this specific, let's say, people with specific tools, but also by means of this dedicated area. And what we understood, and this is thanks to a lot of, let's say, relationship we have with customers, that sometimes the customer is not just asking to perform a test of single components, but to have the possibility to perform a full penetration test. And of course, this can be done in two phases. During the development, so when there is a prototype, before the car goes to the public on the market, or just after the development, because, you know, this should be like a periodic activity to perform this kind of full testing. This environment helps us to perform the full test of the vehicle itself. So actually we are able to get different cars to dismount the car and to access even physically different devices that normally are not accessible in order to perform any kind of testing from any kind of angles and to find any kind of, you know, potential vulnerabilities that can be used to disrupt the functionality of the vehicle, so even to create some critical issues. Of course, you need a lot of check in terms of safety of the area, but also be sure that, you know, you have proper confidentiality, because we are testing new cars most of the time, so that they are not still in the public, and we need to make sure nobody is able to access this kind of information except the people that they are performing the test. And in this case, what we do actually, we enlarge the scope of our work, because we are not just testing the single component, but we are testing all the possible communication from to the vehicle, so V2X systems, which can be, again, wireless, Wi-Fi, vehicle to grid, vehicle to infrastructure, vehicle to home. There are a lot of declinations of this V2X term. And we are also able to test any kind of onboard sensors that are used in the system as well. And this is extremely important, because sometimes you can understand if a vulnerability is real exploitable when it's in the real context of the functioning. So when you have the complete system available. And sometimes you find something new that you were not able just to find testing the single component, but you need to have, again, access to the full system. And again, it's also a very important requirement for the UN 155 regulation, because they say that you have to perform this periodic testing. And then it comes also, but we don't have time, to the topic of continuous monitoring. So it means that even if you are testing a vehicle and this vehicle is secure, afterwards you need to monitor the vehicles when it's on the road and process the telemetry in a way that you can find any kind of anomalies and detect new incidents and new vulnerabilities. And what's next? Again, we are involved now in several projects where customers of certain, let's say, importance and size, they're asking us to help them to create the proper environment, proper procedures, to find the proper people, skilled people, and to train them to perform these kind of activities by themselves. Sometimes with our help, but most of the basic activities can be performed by the customer itself. And why us? Of course, this is just few information about us. So we have a very strong team of researchers which found vulnerabilities in top 5 OEMs at the moment. We are, these slides, it's a little bit old, but anyway, we tested already like 30 ECUs, but we are testing more and more of these electronic units. We found vulnerabilities in over-the-air updates protocol, which is really important because this is the future. So this is the way new cars are working. This is the way new things are going to be patched very soon. And we were able also to find vulnerabilities in CAN bus and also in the Bluetooth control. Last but not the least, we are also, in our environment, in our facility, able to understand the interaction between the vehicles and the road infrastructure. So what we do also, we do test this interaction to try to understand whether there are some vulnerabilities that can be exploited. So I think I summarized the, let's say, the topic here. So importance of cybersecurity, importance of proper testing, importance to be compliant, but compliant is just the key to perform and to push this kind of activities. And then the importance of having a proper environment, proper people to perform this kind of activities. That's all for today. Thank you so much, everyone.